In early 2000, I released my first debut album, Brotha from Another Planet. It was the first time I was able to assemble an entire project from start to finish, hiring musicians, doing the writing, developing the idea and the concept. I was very proud of this first project because it had done what I wanted it to do, speak my voice. This is the Brotha from Another Planet podcast. I'm your host, singer-songwriter Will Hammond Jr.
Can anybody hear me?
To tell the story of this first album release, I have to go way, way back. Back to the old school. Back in 1990, when my first single dropped. It was a single that I wrote for an artist named Tara Kemp, and her song was Hold You Tight. Hold You Tight went to the Billboard Hot 100, peaking at number 3 in 1991. It also peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Dance Chart. Hold You Tight was one of the first songs I had ever written as a professional songwriter. It really helped me develop my skills in learning how to do actual pop music writing and just overall learning how to work together in a collaboration. So when it came down to developing my own sound, I was ready. I decided to think about what concepts I wanted to write about. Growing up in the Bay Area was one of them. Also family. Also searching for something deeper. It was not easy being a writer from the Bay Area coming down to Hollywood. There was a lot of pressure in trying to multiply what we had done the first time. And for me, that wasn't about making pop songs or trying to make a hit song. It was just trying to have an idea come out of me that was real. So back in 1994, something happened to make it really real. I was actually fired from my job. I got laid off from a job up in San Leandro, and I was sitting in my car thinking, man, this is it. I can't believe this happened. And so I had a severance check in my hand. I opened up the check, and it was a check for $8,000. And at that moment, I knew this was my chance to pack my car up and drive back down to LA and try to do something with this dream. So I drove down, and I had a friend who lived in the valley. I stayed with him for a while, slept on his couch. And as I was doing that, I was also writing and creating the sound, which was going to become Brotha from Another Planet. But before I tell you that story, my mom would tell you where it really all began. So when's the first time you knew I had a musical gift?
When you were 10 years old and you were at my preschool and you were downstairs in the art room and you were playing piano. I heard a piano and I asked, who's playing that piano? And Carl the guard said, that's your son. And I was like, really? And then I went in the back and I witnessed you playing the piano by ear, and you knew how to play the piano. And this is without your dad, who is a musician, teaching you how to play. This is you on your own, being very gifted. And that was the start.
And what's interesting about that story is I do remember being a kid, sort of improvising on the piano, coming up with like all these different chords and melodies, and just being able to have that kind of calm around me was helping me to develop as a writer. So thinking back now on those songs I was writing, I do remember having a clear idea of the spirit of soul. So I want to play you the opening track for this album, which is called soul spirits.
Once upon a time, in the land of the seventh free, there lived a very curious folk who found a great gift. Everyone around him felt an incredible energy of light and sound. He closed his eyes and he saw a spirit soul.
Lessons I've learned through all these years, paying my dues has brought me here. Blood, sweat, and tears got me the gold, but now I'm searching for silver in my soul. Never look back, keep moving on. Can't stop the rhythm, can't stop the flow. Don't get caught up, just do your thing, like my mama told me. Can you feel the soul music? Yeah. Ba 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 ba. Soul music. Yeah. Ba 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 ba. Soul music. Can you feel the soul? Can you feel the soul music? Yeah.
So if I think about these songs and how they were created, it was really from, again, being a writer and learning the process from that first album with Tara Kemp. So when I started writing, I actually thought about a song I could do with Tara because I wanted to honor that time that I had with her and with the other writers and producers. And just to sort of look at that time, I remember we actually wrote a bunch of songs while we were finishing the album, and we had some meetings with Stephanie Mills, and I wrote a song called Every Time You Fall that we actually had a meeting with Stephanie, and she loved the song. We wrote some songs for Color Me Bad for their first album because they were on the same label as Tara. And I remember those times of us all being in the studio together. Sometimes we were in the studio with some really cool folks, like Madonna's singers were kind of backup singers as well. And they would come in and do some studio stuff with us. And I remember just that being an amazing time for me to learn the process of writing and and creating ideas from scratch. And sometimes there were hard times and really, really fun times. But I remember those times as being just blew me away as far as like, wow, this is really what it feels like to be working as a writer in LA. One of those times it was really hard is I was going through a lot of panic and anxiety attacks because of all the stress of being not really fully understanding that monumentous position I was in to be a writer. So I had this concept later on of this song called Searching for Silver, which Tara decided she would sing with me on my album. And the concept of the song was basically like searching for the silver lining, not searching for gold, because we end up always trying to chase the gold record or, chase the money or whatever we were chasing. But I wanted to write a song about not chasing a dream, or not chasing money, but chasing a dream. And so this song was on my album, and I'm so blessed to have Tara also singing the duet with me. So this is the song, Searching for Silver.
Searching for silver, I'm standing peace of mind. Take your time, free your mind. You will find peace of mind. You will find peace of mind. Take your time, free your time, free your mind. You will find peace of mind. Take your time, free your mind. You will find peace of mind. You will find peace of mind.
So how did you feel about me doing something successful and doing something different than what you thought?
I was really, really proud. I was happy. I remember walking through the Emporium downtown San Francisco and hearing the record come on, the loudspeaker, and I was shopping and I was like, that's my son.
You never told me that.
Yes. I said, that's my son. My son helped write that song. And it sounded so good and I was very proud, and I came back to work and told everybody I had heard it.
Wow, I never heard the story before.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
On the next Brother from Another Planet podcast, the musicians from the past and the present. To hear the album Brother from Another Planet, please go to Spotify, Apple Music, or purchase the album directly on willhammondjr.bandcamp.com. Thanks for listening.
Time passes on. It's here and now it's gone. The past is what breathes through me. Now I'm lost on this earth. Same complexion since birth. And still people can't